Nick's channel, and today, actually, we have two videos today about the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, two Dallas Cowboy videos in one day. How about that, Cowboy fans? Uh, some of you Cowboy fans may like it, some of you may not like it, but let's get straight into it. Are the Dallas Cowboys, or Arlington Cowboys, I should say, are they still America's team? Now, this is actually not something that came from me. This is actually something that I heard on the radio the other day. And, they were discussing it, and people were giving some pretty valid discussions whether they, s- how they still are America's team or whether they're not America's team anymore, why they're not America's team anymore. And, the big case was, well, they're not winning. They haven't won. They haven't won anything meaningful in what, 29 years, almost 30 years. And I get both sides of it, but before we get into now, let's get into a little bit on how they became America's team. So the Dallas Cowboys had their successes in the 1970s and 1990s, winning two in the 70s and three in the 90s, winning the first one in 1971, their second one in 77, and in the 90s they won back to back in 1992 and 93, and getting their last Super Bowl since, or their newest Super Bowl up to date in 1995, nearly 30 years ago. And it was just a success. I mean, nobody was given the name America's team up until what, the 80s or 70s, I believe. And I'm gonna bring it up. Okay, the reason why the name was given to them was actually because it was actually supposed to be given to the Steelers, but they declined it, saying that they didn't want to put that name on them because they're not America's team, they're the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they wound up giving it to the Dallas Cowboys. And to be honest with you, I think it's more fitting for the Cowboys to be named America's team. I mean, Cowboys, America, it just makes sense. It sounds better, to be honest with you. And the marketing is a lot better. I mean, the fact that they play in Texas, the biggest state in the United States, I mean, it makes more sense that the Cowboys are America's team. Okay, so I'll say that. And I'm going to say this, I still believe they're America's team. I don't think there's much discussion there. I know, at least from what I was hearing, Cam Newton has went out and said publicly that the Kansas City Chiefs are now America's team, or someone on the radio said that the New England Patriots were America's team, and now it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And let me be honest with you real quick. Were the New England Patriots really ever America's team? I mean, like, I live in Southern California, okay? I didn't see many New England Patriot fans, if any at all. I mean, once in a blue moon, I'd see a Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski jersey. Once in a blue moon. I mean, the Patriots had their dynasty, of course, the best dynasty in NFL history. I'll give them their flowers there. I mean, six Super Bowls in what, a span of 2 decades? I mean, that's ridiculous. But they were never really America's team. The popularity just didn't seem there. And maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe it was there, but from what I saw, the popularity wasn't there. Now for the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, you can make an argument that their fan base has grown since their success with Patrick Mahomes, the three Super Bowls, uh, what, 3 and 5 years or something like that. I don't know the exact 3 and 6, 3 and 5 years, but they don't have the fan base that the Cowboys have. They don't even have the fan base the Green Bay Packers have. If we're being honest with you, I mean, there's pretty big fan bases out there, like the Packers, like the Cowboys. I'll throw it out there. I'm not being biased here. Like the Steelers, even like the Raiders. I mean, even the Niners, I see. I mean, they have a pretty solid fan base all around, it seems like. And the Kansas City Chiefs don't have that. The New England Patriots didn't have that. And I'll say this, in America, the Cowboys probably do have the biggest fan base in America. Probably. I'm only saying probably because, I mean, I haven't even been to every state, but I'm just going off what I see. And I'll also say this, I'll also bring this up. Who is the most hated NFL team right now and for the past decade? I'll just say it hasn't been the Chiefs. It hasn't been the Patriots. I mean, I hated the Patriots. I mean, as a Steelers fan, seeing the Patriots beat the Steelers over and over and over again, even in the playoffs. I mean, personally, I hated the Patriots, but were they the most hated team in the NFL at some point? Probably just because of success. Okay, but if you think about what fan base or what team always gets talked down on, and every single fan base can get together and just hate on that team. It's been the Dallas Cowboys. I I don't think I'm wrong there. I mean, you could challenge me on that, but every single fan base, every single team seems to hate the Cowboys, whether they're a division rival or whether they're in the same conference or different conference. It doesn't matter. I mean, nobody likes the Cowboys other than Cowboy fans. It's either you really like the Cowboys, you really love the Cowboys, or you hate the Cowboys. A lot of people, there's a handful of people that are just neutral against the Cowboys. A handful. So with that being said, if you're the most hated, yeah, you're the most popular. That's how I see it, you know? Whether it's I mean, I think they're the most liked too. If you're just going off of if I'm going off what I see. Okay, I see that they're the most hated and they're the most liked. So that makes them still America's team. I get they haven't had success. I get they probably won't have true success if, there's certain things that they don't change. There's a lot of things that they need to get right and get done in that organization. There's a lot of change that they need to have, and they're probably not going to be able to win without those changes. But as it stands now, they're still America's team, and I get if they're not winning, maybe if they don't. Sorry about that. And maybe if they're not winning, that might change. Maybe it does go to the Kansas City Chiefs if they pull off a few more Super Bowls. I doubt it, because if it's not seeming to work for the Chiefs as far as like the popularity is, I'm not bashing the Chiefs. Their fan base is definitely growing because of their success, but not to where like I'd say the big four, big five team fan bases are. Okay. And eventually, that's probably going to die down at some point. Not to say it's anytime soon. I mean, the Chiefs got a really young and talented team still, even though they have three Super Bowls under their belt. I mean, they could still definitely win a good amount, But I think it's going to take a lot for the Cowboys not to be America's team anymore. I mean, it might take a super dynasty for them not to be America's team anymore. And it's not like there's other teams out there that are trying to be America's team. No, they're the only team that tries to go by that. No other team has ever said, well, we're going to be America's team or we're going to work our way to be America's team. No other team has been marketing themselves to be that. Only the Dallas Cowboys. So maybe even if some other team tries to, challenge the Cowboys on it, you know, win a couple of Super Bowls and say, hey, we're America's team now. We're America. But no team has done that. And it's going to be hard for a team to do that. And truth be told, I don't think any other team could probably make a run for America's team. It's going to be pretty difficult. So, in my eyes, are the Cowboys still America's team? Absolutely. Absolutely 100%. I mean, they really need to start winning, though. I'll say that. Maybe it's died down a little bit, maybe it's watered down a little bit because they haven't won. But as of right now, this current day in 2024, the Dallas Cowboys are still America's team, and that's coming from a Steeler fan. Yes. So they still own that name, man. You know, it is what it is. I know a lot of people don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of it either. You know, in my eyes, I think the Steelers are America's team, but maybe I'm just a biased Steelers fan, you know? But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Dallas Cowboys are still America's team? Or do you think they need to reprove themselves to truthfully own that right? What do you guys think down in the comments below? You guys let me know. But as for this one, guys, that's about it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.